Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 30th April 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. So today's quote is regarding poverty. So poverty is also one of the favorite area of UPSC and you need to prepare the quotes regarding this poverty before going to examination, because you can get some essays also regarding this poverty. So this quote says that poverty is the deprivation of opportunity. So because of poverty, it is the sole reason for deprivation of different opportunities for the people, right? So we need to help them to come out of the poverty. So it is an important role that can be taken by the government to come up with some poverty alleviation schemes that will help to for the people who are mainly facing poverty to come outside, and that will be helpful for improving of standard of living of those people. So now let us try to see first topic. It is regarding Hindi. Okay, so title says a step that would trigger language phonocide. So here one important statement given by our Home Minister. So because of this Hindi language is highly seen in news. So now let us try to understand this topic. So this is important from your polity point of view, and this article will be giving you a different dimension regarding so what happens whenever we are imposing one language in the country. So we are going to take some case studies of Pakistan and as well as Sri Lanka, and we will be understanding what will be the consequence of that. So if you see context here, our Union Home Minister, he recently made a statement and he urged the use of Hindi as lingua franca, that is like a link language, rather than using of English in interstate communication. So in interstate communication, so rather than using English, we can use Hindi as link language. So this is the thing which mainly said by our Union Home Minister. And he also suggested that when citizens of states who speak other languages to communicate with each other, it should be in the language of India. So whenever people they are communicating, or citizens of the states, they are mainly communicating with the other states, so they have to use this link language that should be Hindi. So this is a thing which mainly said by our Union Home Minister. And if you are talking about some history regarding this Hindi language, so our V.D. Savarkar, you will be coming across this personality when you're reading this modern history. So in this context, the V.D. Savarkar, he was the Hindutva icon. So he was the first person who advocated idea of Hindi to be declared the national language. So who was the icon to be declared this Hindi as a national language? That is V.D. Savarkar. So this might be your prelims question as well. And he also came with a slogan that is Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan. So here you can frame a prelims question. So the slogan Hindi, Hindu, Hindustan given by, and you will be getting some options like V.D. Savarkar. You can get like M.G. Ranade, and for example Satyendranath Sinha. So like that you will be getting some options. You have to choose a correct option. So this Hindi, Hindu, Hindutva slogan is given by V.D. Savarkar. So R.V. Dhulekar, who was a member of Constituent Assembly, he bluntly stated in Assembly that you may belong to any other nation, but I belong to Indian nation, the Hindi nation, the Hindu nation, the Hindustani nation. So here you have to remember these two personalities. First one is V.D. Savarkar and next one is R.V. Dhulekar. So these are the two people, they are related to Hindi language. So if you're talking about languages in India, so we are having official languages. There are 22 official languages which are present in India. So apart from that, there are a number of dialects which are mainly spoken by different people in our country. So for example, if you are talking about tribal languages, so tribal people, they will be having their own dialect. So tribal language in a death trap in August 2011, so which has mentioned how Sir George Grierson Linguistic Survey of India that mainly held in 1903 to 1923. So at that time they identified about 179 languages and 544 dialects in India. So as per 1961 census, it mainly says that there were about 1652 mother tongues, and out of this 1652 mother tongues, 184 mother tongues they had been spoken by more than 10,000 speakers, and out of which about 400 mother tongues they had been mentioned in this recent survey. So while 527 they were listed as unclassified. Okay, so this data which is according to 1961 census. And if you see, after one decade we came up with this 1971 census. So in this data it mainly says that, so officially listed languages of 8th schedule of Indian Constitution, and apart from that there are about many languages that are mainly seen. Okay, so those are spoken by minimum 10,000 speakers each, and all other languages which are spoken by less than 10,000 speakers, they were lumped together as other languages. And recent 2011 census data on languages which mainly published, okay, and in this survey or in this census data, it mainly presents Hindi as a mother tongue of over 52 crore people. So for 52 crore people in India, so Hindi is mother tongue for them. And we can also subsume more than 5 crore claimants of Bhojpuri, and there are more than 9 crore people are speaking nearly 61 other languages. For example, Rajasthani, Himachal Pradesh, from Rajasthan, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttar Pradesh, and as well as Uttarakhand, Haryana, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Madhya Pradesh. So from these area, about 9 crore people, okay, nearly they will be speaking like 61 other languages. And Hindi is probably spoken by not more than 30% of our population, but it is not the mother tongue for remaining 70%. So Hindi, which is mainly spoken probably by 30%, but the rest of 70% of people, so for them Hindi it is not a mother tongue. So apart from that, Hindi is not a lingua franca, that is the link language for Indians, nor it is a dominant language. It is only primus inter pares. Okay, so it is like a mother tongue for 30% of Indian population. So it is about the status of Hindi now. So if you are talking about some case studies when we are studying about in our neighborhood, so for example, we have to talk about Pakistan, we have to talk about Sri Lanka, and we have to understand what is the consequence of imposition of a language. So whenever we are going for imposition of one language and we are neglecting the other language in multilingual state, it is a disastrous, because we have to learn from the consequences which mainly faced by Pakistan and as well as Sri Lanka. So for example, if you are talking about Pakistan and even Sri Lanka, there are some textbook examples of how stubbornness over language ruined their nations. So after partition, okay, so partition of this united India, okay, we can say like after 1947, so we went for partition of India. So India, it is mainly partitioned into Pakistan and as well as India, and Pakistan became a multi-ethnic and as well as multi-linguistic state at that time. So later on, after partition, so in 1948, government of Pakistan ordained Islamization of East Pakistan with Urdu as a sole national language. So in 1948, in East Pakistan, that is at present Bangladesh, they imposed Urdu as a sole national language. So in this East Pakistan, so there were a number of people who are mainly belonging to this Bengal. They are Bengali speaking people as well. So there can be only one state language if the component parts of the states are to march forward in unison, and in my opinion, that can only be Urdu. So this is a thing which mainly said by Jinnah sir at that time. Okay, he said that we want to go for only one state language, that is Urdu. So in 1948, government of Pakistan, which mainly ordained the Islamization of East Pakistan, and they came up with the sole national language, that was Urdu at that time. So it can only be the one state language if the component parts of the states, they need to march towards unison. So here Jinnah mainly said that if we want to move forward, we need to have only or sole one national language. So this is the thing which mainly stated by Jinnah. So at that time, because of this arrogance of West Pakistan, that led to violent Bengali language movement, or it is also called as Bhasha Andolan in this East Pakistan. Okay, and in this East Pakistan violence or Bengal language movement or Bhasha Andolan, so they mainly advocated for recognition of this Bengali language as official language and of the dominion of Pakistan in order to allow its use for these government transactions. So in the government transactions, in education, in media, in currency, so we have to use this Bengali language and Bengali script. So this was the demand at that time of Bhasha Andolan in this East Pakistan region, and this language movement also catalyzed by Bengali nationalism, and eventually that led to East Pakistan separating from this Pakistan, and this is the one important consequence. And next one is in Sri Lanka, they came up with this Sinhala Only Act. It is talking about Official Language Act of Sri Lanka of 1956, and it mainly triggered some intense enmity, okay, and distress. So it led to some intense enmity and distress between Sinhalese and as well as Tamils. So actually Sinhalese people, they will be talking the Sinhalese language, and Tamils, they will be speaking Tamil language. So whenever this type of official language of nation which is come up by Sri Lanka, that led to exclusion of this Tamil language. So actually if you are talking about the Sinhalese was the language of the Sinhalese people, and they mainly form 70% of population of Sri Lanka and remained 29% of population of the Sri Lanka, they are mainly Tamils. Okay, Tamil was spoken by Indians and as well as Sri Lankan Tamils, and they are mostly Muslim community, so they will be speaking this Tamil language. And because of this act which mainly came up by government of Sri Lanka, that is like a discriminatory, that is alienating this Tamil community from this mainstream. So because of this, so this is the one important reason for this long civil war, okay, of Sri Lanka, and that ruined the nation. So here if you're talking about, so what can be done, so we need to accommodate linguistic diversity. Okay, so if you're talking about some more case studies where they came up with this linguistic diversity, so here we need to talk about South Africa. So South Africa has a one unique thing, that is national anthem of South Africa, so which is the anthem of Rainbow Nation since 1997, and they used 5 language lyrical composition of this national anthem of South Africa. So it mainly includes languages like Xhosa, Zulu, Sesotho, Afrikaans, and as well as English. So these are the 5 languages which are mainly seen in the lyrics of the South Africa national anthem. So in this way they came up with this accommodative linguistic policy. So this accommodative linguistic policy which mainly helped this country the most. And in this context, so even Singapore also having this type of policy. So in this way, here India should also emulate this multilinguistic accommodative policy of Singapore and as well as South Africa, and it will be very, very helpful. Okay, we should not follow the thing which mainly followed by Sri Lanka and as well as Pakistan. That will be like a disastrous linguistic thing that will be seen in the country. So imposing Hindi, which is the first language of the residents of only 12 out of 35 states and union territories in India, as a linked language or lingua franca, that would lead to phonicide of other Indian languages. So here we should not adopt this because it also had proved that it will be like catastrophic in other countries like Pakistan and Sri Lanka. So this is about this topic, and now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding safety first. So recently one tragedy which mainly held in Tamil Nadu, so in especially religious congregation. So here we need to focus on what are the safety protocols that we have to follow. So this article is important from your disaster management, which comes under your GS paper 3. And now let us try to see this topic in a very great detail. So if you're talking about context, it mainly says that the tragedy that is mainly seen in Tanjavur district of Tamil Nadu. So in this tragedy which mainly claimed lives of 11 people and also 17 people they injured after a small chariot which mainly touched this live wire with high tension category, and later on it caught fire. So whenever chariot pulling is happening, so this chariot, it will be like this, right? So this chariot which mainly touched the power line, electricity line, and because of this high tension, what happened, that led to caughting of fire of this chariot. So because of this, that led to the tragedy. So this idol laden chariot was being taken out in a procession as part of annual festival to perpetuate the memory of Saivate saint, that is Tirunavukasar. Okay, so here we are mainly celebrating annual festival to perpetuate the memory of this Saivate saint. So here in this event, that led to some accident here. So almost 10 days earlier, 2 persons they also died in the stampede at annual Chitrai festival of Madurai Meenakshi temple. Okay, so in this Madurai Meenakshi temple also, 10 days earlier, 2 persons they lost their life in the stampede. So 10 years ago, the event that almost mirrored this Kalimedu that happened in this Gudiyatham, so that too in Vellore district, that led to killing of 5 people. So in fact that the state has such a dubious record of many people, they will be dying in this type of religious thing. So now it is responsibility of the government to protect the life of these people the most, right? So if you're talking about some questions that mainly arises in this incident is, so these includes whether this organizers who are organizing this event, who have been holding the festival for more than 90 years, so why they didn't get the permission from the local officials, and why they didn't conducted this procession during the early hours. So this is one important question which mainly rises. So apart from that, whether such an event that could take place without knowledge and approval of these local authorities or not. So if they are taking permission, means the whatever the power supply that is going in that line, that will be switched off. So why this power supply had not been switched off? So this is one more question. So what might be the reason? The reason might be here is there is no proper coordination, that is lack of coordination among the electricity department, highways, local administration and revenue departments, right? So this is the one important obvious reason here. So apart from that, now government should make a public reports. Okay, they should be submitted by the agencies, and they need to inquire the events, and they need to issue some regular updates and follow-ups regarding these actions. And finally, here the government should ensure that the safety norms are to be implemented in the letter and as well as both in spirit as well. So now let us try to talk about next article. So title says core sector growth dips to 4.3% in month of March. So here we need to talk about core sector. So which are the following will comes under this core sector, you have to know that, and you have to know some facts regarding this core sector growth and index of industrial production. So this will be important from your GS paper 3 under economy. So now let us try to talk about this topic in a very great detail. So if we're talking about context, it mainly says that output of India's 8 core sectors, they grew by 4.3% in month of March. So in month of March, here the core sector growth is 4.3%. And actually if you are comparing with February, it is very low. In February, it recorded 6% of growth, and March it led to decrease, that is 4.3%. But still, it is mainly reflecting the second highest rate over 5 months. So if we are talking about core sectors, we are having 8 core sectors. So here you have to know one mnemonic to remember this. Funds 3C, FERNS, funds 3C. So F for fertilizer, E for electricity, R for refinery, N for natural gas, S for steel. And what are these 3 C's? First one is coal, second one is crude oil, third one is cement. So with this mnemonic, you can easily remember this 8 core sectors. So if you're talking about some facts regarding this core sectors, so they mainly comprise about 40.27% of the weight of items, which mainly included in this index of industrial production. And if you're talking about decreasing order of their weight, so first one is refinery, second one is electricity, third one is steel, fourth one is coal, fifth one is crude oil, sixth one is natural gas, seventh one is cement, and last one is fertilizer. And you have to remember this order, so it might be a prelims question. So now let us try to talk about what is this index of industrial production. So if you are talking about IIP, it is indicator of mainly measures in the changes in the volume of production, and as well as industrial product. Okay, it is mainly focusing on volume of production and as well as industrial products during the given time period. So actually this index of industrial production, which mainly compiled by CSO, that is Central Statistical Office, and it mainly comes under this MOSPI, that is Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. And actually this IIP is a complement or composite indicator, and actually it mainly measures the growth rate of industry groups. So for example, we have broad sector, we have use-based sector. So in this broad sector, we will include mining, manufacturing and electricity. And if you are talking about use-based sector, we have to include basic goods, capital goods and as well as intermediate goods. And if you are talking about the base year of this IIP, it is from 2011 to 2012. So these are some important facts regarding this topic. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding China to ease curbs on entry of Indian students. So what is the background? So in December 2019, so there was outbreak of coronavirus that is seen firstly in the Wuhan city of China. So because of this, there are many Indian students, more than 20,000 Indian students, they are pursuing education in China. They return back to India, right? So once they return back to India, now till now from 2019, now it is 2022. So these students, they cannot go back to China because China is imposing some restrictions. So because of these restrictions, Indian government, which also retaliated that, Indian government mainly cancelled the visa of this Chinese people. Okay, so that here, so it is like a retaliating step. So because of this, now here China came up with easing of the curbs regarding entry of Indian students to China. So this is one important development I can say. So if you see details, it mainly says that China will allow some Indian students to return to resume their studies after a 2-year pandemic induced gap. Okay, on need assessed based bias. Based on this need assessed bias, they will be going for allowing of Indian students to return to resume their education in China. So if you're talking about some details, it mainly says that an agreement which mainly allow their return was reached following the meeting of External Affairs Minister and as well as Chinese Foreign Minister. So External Affairs Minister and Chinese Foreign Affairs Minister, they mainly had a meeting, and in this meeting they came up with an agreement, and this agreement which mainly talks about allowing of their of Indian students to return to China to pursue their education. As you all know that India, which mainly accounts the highest number of foreign students in China, it will be like more than 20,000 people they enroll in universities, especially they want to seek medical education from China. Actually these students, they returned India because of this COVID-19 outbreak in December 2019. And next important point here is the Chinese side. The Chinese side, they has expressed its willingness to consider facilitating the return of Indian students to China on a need asserted bias. And next one is students, they have asked to provide information about their class, about their cases, and even they have to file up the form made available for the website within the Indian Embassy in Beijing. So they are also asking to give some details of their health status. So now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding heat waves. Heat waves linked to man-made climate change. So this article is very important from your environment and ecology, which mainly comes under GS paper 3. So if you're talking about context regarding this topic, it mainly says that India gripped in the throes of long spell heat waves. So you need to know about what is the criteria for these heat waves. I didn't include this criteria here, so it is a homework for you people today. So you have to refer what is the criteria to call a heat wave. So India, which mainly gripped the throes of long spell of heat waves, and there is compelling evidence that a significant portion of it is due to human induced climate change. So there are a number of researchers mainly done some research, and they said that, so what is the important reason for this climate change is human induced climate change. So this is the thing which mainly said by scientists. So now let us try to see some more important details to highlighted in this article. So there were 3 eminent scientists with expertise in how atmospheric, how land and ocean systems, they were influenced by the greenhouse emissions. So they mainly drew up upon their decades of research, and they trying to explain how accumulation of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, which mainly exacerbated temperatures in the oceans. So whenever there is increasing of greenhouse gases into our atmosphere, that will leads to greenhouse effect, and that will leads to increasing of global temperature. So because of increasing of global temperature, we also see there will be increased risk of glacier melting, and that will leads to increasing of sea level, that will leads to finally the biosphere of that area. So recently this Princeton University, Columbia University, and as well as National Aeronautics and Space Administration had said that if carbon emissions were unchecked, if we are not taking any step to control this carbon emissions, means half of the planet that would be severe drought in the century end. So in this century end, we are going to expect there will be like a severe drought if we are not controlling this greenhouse gas emissions. Okay, so this is the one important thing here. So along with the carbon dioxide emissions, pollution from biomass, they are also combined. It is about 1.5 million deaths. So this pollution is very much responsible for this 1.5 million deaths annually in India. So apart from that, India could also cut this pollution by the half just by providing the clean cooking fuel, because especially in the rural households, the people, they will be going for using chulas or even firewood for their food purposes. So because whenever using their firewood, they will be releasing of lot of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, and even that will leads to some pollutants that will be released here. So because of this, we need to go for clean providing the clean gases, clean cooking gas fuel. So let me know which is the scheme which mainly talks about clean cooking fuel. Okay, the subsidy will be given by the government, right? So here India could cut its pollution by the half just by providing the clean cooking fuel to the rural households in this Indo-Gangetic plains. And we need to focus on social transformation, and we need to focus on mitigating the carbon dioxide emissions and even adaptations, etc. So these are some important steps that can be taken by government. And now let us try to see next topic. It is regarding economy may take till the financial year 35 to overcome this COVID-19 losses. So this article, it is talking about economical conditions. So if you see context, it mainly says that Indian economy may take more than a decade to overcome the losses which mainly caused by the outbreak of COVID-19 pandemic. So here our Indian economy, which may take like 35, okay, now it is 2022, that means like 33 years to recover from this COVID-19 outbreak. So this is according to RBI's report on currency and finance, RFRCF. So if you see details, it mainly says that the pandemic is a watershed moment, and structural changes which mainly catalyzed by the pandemic that can potentially alter the growth trajectory in the medium term. So here RBI governor says that because of this global pandemic, okay, pandemic, or we can say like global pandemic or COVID-19, so it is one of the watershed moment that led to several structural changes in, for example, even disruption of supply chains as well. So because of this, here we are going to take much more time to come to our medium term. So we're talking about some data which mainly says that, so when we are talking about the growth rate in 2020 to 21, overall it is minus 6.1% and about 8.9% for 2021 to 2022, and assuming the growth rate of 7.2% in 2022 to 2023 and beyond 7.5. So India, which is mainly expected to overcome this COVID-19 by 2034 to 2035. So this is about this topic. And now let us try to see yesterday's questions. So first one, it is regarding solar radiation. Generally, incoming solar radiation, that is insolation, can be observed, scattered and reflected in the atmosphere. So based on the given statements, and try to identify the correctly matched pair. So clouds, yes, reflection. Atmospheric gases, they will be go for absorption, and dust particles and haze, they will be go for scattering. So correct option will be one only. And next question is regarding cyclones. So first statement is, in a cyclone, the air circulation is anti-clockwise in northern hemisphere. Yes, and it is clockwise in southern hemisphere. First statement is correct. And next one is, tropical cyclones may being embedded in the trade winds in general moves from west to east Yes. And next one is temperate cyclones being embedded in the westerlies generally move from west to east. Okay, so you have to remember this. Actually, here tropical cyclones, they will be moved from east to west. This statement is correct. And next one is here temperate cyclones, they will be moving from west to east. This statement is also correct. So correct option will be 4, all the above. And now let us try to see the today's questions. So first one, it is regarding atmospheric temperature, and you have to know about distribution pattern of this atmospheric temperature. So what are the factors are responsible for this distribution pattern? Okay, so here there are 3 important statements given. You have to read and give me the correct option. And next one is temperature anomaly. So this temperature anomaly is important concept from your geography point of view, and try to read these 2 statements which are given and give me the correct option in the comment box. So now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So before saying that, I want to make a small announcement. So in Rathod's IS, we came up with this mains answer writing practice course, and this course, it is going to be started from May 2nd. So here registrations already had been open, so please try to join this course. So this will be absolutely beneficial because we are giving you weekly targets and we will be evaluating your performance. We will be giving you proper guidance, and we will be also giving you daily one question and one model answer for that question, and there will be correction will be there, evaluation will be there. So in this way, this course is very useful to improve your answer writing skills. So apart from that, we are also ready to launch this pen drive course for entire foundational course of 2022 to 2023. So this is very important because this will be helpful to clear the concepts. And the cost of this pen drive course is 60,000 rupees only with a validity of 2 years. So try to join this course as well. So if you have any doubts, please call us on this number 8074765513. And if you want to watch the demo videos, so please register on our website. There you can watch the 3 demo videos in each and every module. Okay, and now let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper PDF. So this is our Hindu today. So date here is April 30, 2022, and this is Delhi edition. So first article regarding China to use e-curbs on entry of Indian students, we discussed this, and we also discussed this topic of core sector. And there is one article, this is important, from your railways, that is passenger trains cancelled to give away to coal rakes. So in yesterday's lecture, day for yesterday's, we studied about this, what are the problems are mainly faced by this thermal industry. There is no proper transportation. So because of this, now here railway ministry, they took a one decision like passenger trains will be cancelled, and that lanes will be used for freight of this coal, especially from this coal producing regions like Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, and as well as Jharkhand. So this is about this topic. And if you move forward in the city page, there is nothing much important. And if you move forward, this page also, there is nothing much important. And here in this editorial page, 1 minute, in this editorial page, I discussed regarding this topic of language, that is Hindi language. I discussed about this safety, and other articles are also important. Here this article talking about this fueling friction, it mainly focusing on inflation. So how we have to get some relief regarding this cutting of fuel prices. So yesterday's article we studied that our Prime Minister, he made a statement that central government mainly decreased the tax on this or excise duty on this fuel, but the state government, they didn't allow it to go to the final consumers. Okay, so this is the article regarding that. You can easily go to that. And this article, like Emmanuel Macron, who is the president, okay, of France, so it is talking about French elections. So we have to see the geography of France. It is more than enough. And if you move further, leave this page, and here in this news page, I discussed regarding this core sector article, and there is one article which is given, that is power and coal crisis due to government mismanagement, says this thing which mainly said by Congress. So we are not going to see the political thing, but here you have to know about what are the reasons for this coal crisis and what are the reasons for this recent power cuts. And next article, that is mainly present in this page number 12, that is center pushes for Corbevax recognition in other countries. So government mainly plans to expedite the process of recognition of this COVID-19 vaccine, that is Covaxin, by other countries as well. So this article is very important. And one more article, it is dates turn expensive in Kashmir. So especially now it is Ramjan season which is going on. In this Ramjan, if these Muslims they want to break the fast, means they will be taking this dates, but because of some issues to cross this line of control, that led to increasing of price of these dates. And next article is heat waves. I discussed that and I also gave you homework. And if you move forward in this world page, there is one article regarding this. This Russia strikes Kiev during this United Nations chief visit. You can easily go through that article. And if you move on to this business paper, so economy will hit till financial year 35 to overcome this COVID-19 losses. So already I discussed this topic. And apart from that, there is also one article is important, that is refinery said to be in talks for Russian oil deal. Okay, so here whatever the refiners they are present in India, they are mainly going for how to increase the import of this Russian oil. So this is about this topic. So these are some important articles that appeared in our Hindu newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to Rathod's IAS Academy and don't forget to join this mains answer writing practice course and this foundational course that we are offering here. So by this I am concluding. Thank you so much.